Welcome to our dedicated coverage for the Edo 2020 governorship election, reaching you live from Benin City here in Edo State. And the news this morning is the stakeholders meeting yesterday was held. And when I'm talking in terms of stakeholders meeting, the stakeholders meeting is always conveyed by the Independent National Electoral Commission ahead of any election. And these stakeholders will consist of all the political parties that will be participating in that election. And we also have the security agencies, the candidates, and major stakeholders that will be participating on Saturday's election. This is where the rules and regulations, the guidelines, and everything will be reeled out. The Inspector General of Police yesterday actually attended the stakeholders meeting with the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, and the news there is that the police will be deploying 31,000 men. 31,000 men for that particular election. And I'll tell you that the election is going to be held in the 3 senatorial districts of Edo State and 18 local governments. The people that will actually be participating in the election is just 2.2 million people. 2.2 million people will be participating in that number of elections. That's the people, not the registered voters alone, but the number of people that are carrying their permanent voter card will be the only number of people that will be eligible to vote. We also have 14 candidates from across 14 political parties that will be contesting, and unfortunately we have just 2 women candidates that will be vying in Saturday's election. I'm not here alone. My colleague that have been here, Theophilus Ilama, has been here for the past 2 months. Guess so?
Yes, sir.
2 months. Theophilus has been on ground for about 2 months now. Theophilus, the campaigns are, in the last 2 months, I've not seen the number of roads that we are going to do, the number of projects we've done, our achievements. What I've seen basically, it has been a big bat between the 2 dominant political parties, that the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressive Congress.
Yes, it's been that way of some sort, but at a point, both parties, both individuals have to move from dishing out insults to each other to talking about issues now. The APC, the PDP will talk about the fact that the PDP will say they want to do this, they plan on doing this, go to communities and say, okay, we plan on doing this road when we get back, we've started this project in this particular area. While the APC will come and say, the government of the day has not done so and so we intend to do that. So it's moved from the normal
big bats,
to talking about issues, especially when they had to have a peace meeting with the Oba of Benin, and so everything changed because at a point
that was like a turning point, because the influence of the Oba
is very
so important. The narrative changed.
It totally changed because at a point it looked like there were going to be violence in one place or the other. Some people going for you go to a rally and you hear of one violence or the other. So it got the Oba angry, worried. So he had to do something about it and bring the political bigwigs in.
The big actors
there. The APC candidate, Godwin Obaseki, who is the governor, and of course the PDP candidate, the governor, and the APC candidate is Iyamu to his palace with other APC and PDP chieftains to his palace to discuss this, and he actually gave them a warning. It was.
Let there be peace.
Let there be peace. It was the Oba said it all. He said everything there. He missed no words when he was speaking about the violence, and he warned them to go and tell their people to stop the violence. And so it moved from that to something.
Let me just pause you there, and let me hand over to Veronica in the studio.
All right. Thank you very much, Ayodele and Theophilus. We look forward to the build-up to the election. So much to talk about, especially when it comes to the level of preparation and then the security. Exactly. 31,000 personnel.
Interesting.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Veronica. We're counting down to that Saturday, September 19, where the governorship election will be holding. And I told you earlier that this is one of the off-season elections. Edo State falls into those number of states that we have off-season election for the governorship election. We have 7 in number, with the declaration of Comrade Adams Oshiomhole in 2008 as the governor by the Court of Appeal. So that time they started having this off-season election, and Edo State is going to have the 6th election from 1999 till now. So statistically looking at it, and we're talking about 2.2 people who will be participating in this election across 18 local governments. There are 192 wards in Edo State, and there are over 2,000 polling units. So how ready is the Independent National Electoral Commission? A major talking point of this election is also going to be security. I have my colleague here, Theophilus Ilama. Theophilus Ilama, you've been monitoring this election and campaigns and what have you. Now, talk about major concern before this election. It has always been security, and the issue of logistics and everything is downplayed in the election.
The issue of security has been a major issue for residents of Edo State, and it's something that a lot of people think will play out at the elections, and that's why, like you said earlier about the meeting with the Oba of Benin, and of course other concerned leaders in Edo State have come out to condemn a lot of this violence, because they see it as something that will mar the elections and cause serious mayhem on the day of election. So Edo residents, if you go all around the
talking
state,
specifically now, we have 14 political parties that will be participating in this exercise, but two major gladiators, that's the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressive Congress, they seem to be the dominant force and the talking point in this election. So if we're going to have flashpoints in those senatorial districts, it's always been PDP, APC.
Yeah, it's always been between both political parties. In some areas, we've heard skirmishes of violence in one point or the other. We've gotten to a report where, as the party is having its rally and moving out, violence erupts in that area. As the party is about starting its rally, violence erupts in the same area or different areas of the state. And so it's a huge cause of concern. At the beginning of this whole campaign, a lot of people were
let me also point your attention to this. The gender advocates, they've been saying that 48% of the 2.2 million people that have PVC, that they are women.
Yeah.
And in this whole exercise, we have 14 candidates, just 2 women will be participating. And for deputy governorship, we have just 3 women. What does this tell you about the system?
Well, it just shows that we've largely not seen women participation in politics that's pronounced, not just in Edo State, but the entirety of Nigeria. You see, when you expect, at the point where you expect women to come forward and galvanize themselves to aspire for political positions, you don't see them there. Most of the campaigns we have attended, we've seen a lot of women come out of the campaigns, but that question has been almost on our mind. Why do we have situations where women don't come out to aspire for position? Like you said earlier, 2 women are up for the governorship of this state. It's quite appalling, because you see that a lot of the campaigns is dominated by the women.
Another thing is the election should be celebration of ideas, what programs you have. But one very, very sad thing is that if you have 31,000 policemen, and I'm sure other paramilitary agencies are going to join in security and everything, and will this not in any way discourage voters to come and vote? Do you expect a turnout of 2.2 million people that have BBC? Because most of the time when we see the results, we see that, looking at the statistics, you see the percentage will become so low, the number of people that will turn out ultimately.
But Edo residents are very resilient people, I must tell you, because despite whatever the case, security men all around the polling, they will definitely come out. The word on the street there, everybody just wants to go out and vote. The
consciousness is
very high in Edo State. Everyone wants to vote. That's why when anybody asks who's going to win, it's something that's going to be demanding.
Too close to call.
Both candidates are doing their best to get the voters to vote for them, and the residents of Edo State, not just in Benin City, but in the interior parts of Edo State, are highly politically aware, and so they can talk about the candidates of their choice and the manifestos of their candidates, or the achievements of their candidate of their choice, as when you have a discussion with them. So politically, they are highly aware. They know what they want in Edo State. So despite the security architecture coming up in the state, despite the fact that you have a lot of security men that have been deployed to Edo State, Edo residents will come out en masse in their various polling
Finally,
units.
let's talk about the Independent National Electoral Commission, that the center of it all here. Now, for we journalists, it's a kind of improvement. For our accreditation, the one we normally do manually, come here, let us see in person, go to INEC office, upload. Now we have to upload online. Now INEC have been communicating with us. They've told us that yes, we have also number of crew that has been registered and everything. So in terms of development for the sensitive and non-sensitive materials, what have you seen so far?
Well, it's been a big up for INEC in Edo State here because, like you mentioned about the registration, first of all, we had to do ours online and it was seamless. So it's an improvement on what was obtainable in the past, where you have to go and wait at INEC office 2, 3 days, 4 days or more for your accreditation, which might not even come to maybe the election day or a day before the election. But now every journalist working on this project has the accreditation at hand, and so everyone is ready to work. So as part the architecture, what INEC is working on.
We are told that the sensitive, non-sensitive materials have been distributed across all the local governments.
Yes, so we heard at this point that materials have been distributed already, and of course, we hope to see that the election will go as free and fair and clean as possible on that day. No violence and
no violence. So my colleague Theophilus Ilama has been on ground in Edo State monitoring the campaigns and sending reports to Lagos. Over to you now, Mike and Veronica.
Thank you, Aya, for bringing us those details, especially the statistics with regards to the number of persons who are registered voters and the level of awareness among the people of Edo State. We'll definitely keep a close tab for more updates.
And going forward, we'll certainly be talking about women participation in all of those,
yes, absolutely,
and voter education. Thank you very much, Ayodele.